I just wanted to pop on the beginning here to let you know that all of the palettes made in this video are available in my store right now. The link to them will be in the top of the description box. And to celebrate the launch of these new products, you can get 15% off of your entire order, including the palettes, by using code HOLIDAY19. Again, all of the specifics will be in the description. Enjoy the rest of the video. So about a month ago, I did this whole video creating this travel palette. Now, I wanted something originally that was small and custom that I could take with me out west on family vacation. And when I was creating these, even I was just kind of thinking of, wow, this is a really interesting little product. You know, it is in a tiny tin that I pour painted the top of. And then inside you have a mixing area. And then you also have the actual paint area there. And yeah, when I was building this, I was thinking about how cool it would be if I could find a way to maybe produce these for my store, because like I said, it is a very kind of unique product that's also really fun to make. And when I put this video up, there was a crazy response and interest in these palettes, and that just kind of pushed me over the edge. And I have been figuring out over the last couple of weeks the logistics of these palettes, and finally this week is going to be the week that I actually start producing them. So this video is going to be a complete behind the scenes look on producing these palettes for my store. So this original palette was constructed using an Altoids tin, but obviously buying like tens or hundreds of Altoids tin is not that practical and also not very economically or eco-friendly when you have like thousands of mints that no one needs. So I did actually manage to secure the tins themselves. It took quite a while. There are some missing because I have some more kind of in more production stages, but it took a while to find a tin that was almost the exact same size as an Altoids tin that I also liked the quality of, and so this is kind of the base that I'm working with. They are black, but they are virtually the same size as the Altoids tin, which works perfectly. And yeah, they're super, super nice as a base, and so this is going to be what I'm working with. And like I mentioned, I have obviously some are missing from that box because I have some of them in more production stages. They are all of the bottoms because the tops are over here that have already been pre-sanded. So now I have to prime all of these lids to then continue on before I can actually start to pour paint them. The other main part of this palette is the actual 3D printed palette parts, which I have gradually started to print, but I definitely need a lot more, so I will have to get some of those set to print as well. Here's the first round of prime container lids, and now I'm going to go ahead and cover those with some gesso. The lids for the palettes had been gessoed a couple of times, and I also lightly sanded them so they were nice and smooth again. And now it's actually time to start pour painting them. So I was like figuring out kind of some color schemes here that I wanted to work with. I want to be able to use like as many of the colors and as many of the palette color schemes, at least for this round, so there isn't like excessive amounts of extra paint. So I was just kind of figuring out possibly some ideas for the 5 palettes that I'm going to pour paint first. It is a couple of days later now, and here are the 5 finish and dried tins. I haven't put any finishing coat on them yet. I figure I will like resin all of the palettes that I get done kind of at the same time, just while I have the setup. I'll just do them all then, but I've actually already primed and fully like prepped another 5 to pour paint as well, so that's what I'm gonna do next. So as you saw, resined all of the palettes, and here they all are. They're pretty much dry now. I want to give them a bit longer to just sit to make sure that the resin has cured pretty much to hardness. But yeah, that's what they're looking like. They're looking super awesome. Super happy with how these turned out with the resin. The resin is just a super nice, clean touch. Yeah, that's the update. Now to work on the packaging for these guys. Okay, so just wanted to mention quickly, because I'm sure I'm going to get a decent amount of questions as to why I decided to build my own boxes. I'm fully like considering these palettes to be somewhat of a limited, or just like not a mass-produced item, and so therefore needing like a large quantity of boxes is just not necessary, and so it was just going to be way more cost-effective to make my own, as well as it meant I had complete size control. So I got to build a box that fit the palettes and the packaging that pads them perfectly. So yeah, I'm fully aware I could have bought boxes, but that was the reasoning behind this choice. So this was the original prototype, and it was a bit big, so I reduced the files, well I completely redid the files basically, to shrink it down to this size. Now this, I'm very happy with the size. I have a test palette in there wrapped to kind of see how it all fit. But I wasn't sure what I wanted to do with like the box, so I tried out my stamp on there, which I do like, but I think I'm going to actually create something that tapes this down. I do have like fancy Galaxy washi tape, and my first like inkling was to possibly create like a circle sticker with my signature on it and put it here, but I think what I'm actually going to do for a bit of something different is essentially create myself a piece of tape. So not sure what it's going to look like yet, but just something that's going to wrap around the entire top of the body, because obviously the sides here are probably what need the tape more. This does like staying down a lot. I know it doesn't look like it in here, but there's like way too much padding in this probably than it needs, so yeah, that is the prototype though. So I'm going to figure out what I'm doing for sticker work or whatever, and also make more of these. So that went interestingly. As you can see, this is the first sheet, and as you can see from the bottom here, there is a stupid amount of bad cuts on this just because I was trying to figure out the alignment. Like, I knew it was going to be a problem. It's always an issue with the Cricut sometimes that, you know, you have to like create custom markers. Like on my sheet, this one, as you can see, I was making a whole bunch of different alignment markings to try and get it right, and I thought I had it figured out, and obviously I did, because I like stopped it to see how centered the signature was on each one. Like the middle was fine, it's the lining up of the bars. So for this one I only lost basically the first 2 rows, but the rest cut fine. I don't know if you can really see the lines. But I did eventually get the rest to cut fine, and so I was like, okay, great, I know exactly where everything needs to line up now. And then this one messed up even worse. So as you can see, there's the double line again because it was like super off, and then for some reason it just made all of the rest of the ones even worse off, but they're still pretty usable. I can trim them down. The top ones are like completely cut off almost. It's just a weird, annoying thing, but I have enough for right now, probably for the boxes. But yeah, that's what I ended up settling on. So these will go kind of around the entire box like a piece of tape there, and with the signature in the center. So yeah, I'm really happy with those. Super excited. Obviously each one is basically unique because it's my entire Galaxy background, just because I didn't want any, like, because it is kind of like a convoluted cutting system, I didn't want there to be any issues with the patterning, like if it didn't cut where the like design tiled or whatever. I just didn't want that, so I did the whole thing so it was like seamless cutting, so even if it is a bit off, it's not the end. It was mainly just the signature that needed to be centered, and I thought that wasn't going to be that much of a problem, but clearly it was. Yeah, but those are the stickers. So I think the resin is all good to go for these guys, and so now I have the lovely task of reassembling them to all of their bottoms. So here's how one of the boxes worked. Obviously it doesn't have the sticker on it because I don't want to seal this one up, because I need to basically package each of these once they actually sell so I know which one is in the box. It's just going to be easier and more foolproof that way. So excuse the plainness of the box right now. This one is obviously one of the black ones. You open that up and then you have the palette in there that is foam wrapped. So it's nice and padded and secure, and then there's the actual palette. And here are the 10 finished palettes. I am super happy with how these turned out. The resin makes them feel absolutely amazing. I know that a lot of the like details and stuff, it's probably not going to show up on camera just how cool some of these absolutely look, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of sad about seeing some of these go, but it's also really cool to have the idea that, you know, some of these are gonna go to some of you guys and you're gonna use them to create your own artwork, which is awesome. But yeah, like lots of these have like so many cool flecks and like duochrome details in them. It's super cool, and I'm sure the camera is like not doing it justice at all. Especially this one, I know that like from afar it might not look that interesting, but it's honestly one of the most interesting ones. You can see the different flecks and the different layers of color. It just did a whole bunch of really cool stuff with the black paint. Oh, and I don't think I mentioned there were actually a couple of these two in particular that I re-pour painted. I just wasn't happy with how they turned out the first time around, so they did get a second coat. This one, it changed the most drastically, I think. This was like a neutral tone and it just wasn't really cutting it, and this version is so cool. It has all of that duochrome paint in there, and it honestly kind of looks like the inside of a seashell or like a clam, like that pearlescent, really interesting color, and so I'm really happy I did actually decide to re-pour this particular palette. This one I also redid. I don't think I filmed either of these, so this is why I'm mentioning it if there's like, oh, what happened to that one? This one I redid as well, but I did it the same idea, I just made it neater and more interesting looking. Now, I know this video has mainly been about the behind the scenes of creating these 10 specific palettes, but I also wanted to make available the DIY kit. Now, I know a whole lot of you are also artists and you are very interested in these palettes, and so I wanted to have the option that if you were interested in making your own, you could do that. So that is what the DIY kit is. It comes with the tin, of course, as well as the 3D printed palette pieces. So you have everything you need basically to make one of these yourself. So if you want to pour paint the top, put stickers on it, whatever suits your style, that is what the DIY kit is. There will also be a select number of these available at the same time as the 10 specific palettes. I have no idea how popular these are going to be. I know there was interest, but you know, you just really never know. So if for some reason these do sell out pretty quickly, or just, you know, in general, I will definitely look at restocking them. If the specific like finished custom one-of-a-kind palettes do really well, I will definitely stock up on more of them in my store. So if you miss out on the first run of these ones, or if you're interested in the kits themselves, definitely check back, because I will try and keep these stocked if they're popular constantly. You know, if the demand is there, I will definitely, like, these are super fun to make for me. And no worries if you miss out on these ones. I fully have plans on keeping this a permanent product in my store. And that's going to be a wrap on this special studio vlog. Thank you for joining me on the process of creating these palettes, and I will see you in my next video.